All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the June 17th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. Finance Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Capel.
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Here. Mrs. Crawford. Here. Mr. Gose.
Here.
Mr. Grumney is absent. Mr. Long.
Yep.
6 present. We have quorum.
We did have a meeting on May 20th, looking for a motion on the minutes.
I'll motion.
Motion by Mr. Gose,
Second.
second by Mr. Law. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Gose.
Yes.
Long.
Said yes.
Oh, sorry. Mrs. Crawford. Yes. Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mayor St. John.
Yes.
6 yeas. Motion approved.
All right, first item on the agenda is appropriation increases. Ms. Stefan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the committee. There's nothing in your packet for this appropriation increase. I just wanted to briefly touch on what's changed since we introduced the legislation 2 readings ago. Tonight it's on for the 3rd reading. So I did add 2 items and they're both under the sewer fund. One is for a HVAC unit that had failed and needed to be replaced. That was running about $14,000. And the other item is repairs for the Freightliner truck, the VACCon truck, the big truck that the sewer department uses. Those repairs are estimated to be about $25,000. So those 2 items, we didn't have money appropriated in the current budget as it stood, so we needed to add some additional funds there. And that's what's on approval for tonight for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are. I know I wasn't here for the last finance committee meeting, but
What building was the HVAC for?
a sewer plant, one of the buildings
Sewer
in there.
plant, okay.
Yes.
But not the building that's getting renovated as part of the wastewater treatment plant expansion. So that's only the main building where the that's getting renovated. So this one, my recollection from Dale is that he's got electrical equipment stored in this building and he needs to control the temperatures a little bit better in it. So,
Okay.
Freightliner, it was an axle issue, if I'm not mistaken, and new these trucks go for $150,000 plus.
yeah, they're very expensive. Yeah, this truck I think was actually 200.
It was 275.
275.
200,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
100,000.
Pathetic.
Back, yeah.
Yes, the back truck. So kind of puts it into perspective a little bit when you realize how financially large the asset is. So. Okay.
Any other items on the appropriation increase? All right, let's go into audit requirements and overview.
Okay, some of you already know, and for those of you who don't, I'll just let you know now. We are currently under our biennial audit, and just wanted to talk to you about a little bit about the process because we have some new council members here, and just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page when we talk about financial statements and audits. So I'll just give you guys a brief overview, and this is on packet page 5. So if you'd like to follow along, I will. I'll go through this. So it's responsibility of every city in Ohio, every city, every agency, every government agency to prepare annual financial statements. And cities are required to prepare these in accordance with with any accounting method. Since we are a city, we are required to prepare these in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Prior to 2024, the city filed its annual financial statements on a cash basis of accounting it's called the other cash basis of accounting, or OCBOA. So we had a change in financial statement preparation between those years. And as you can imagine, the work that has to go into the financial statements for the generally accepted accounting principles is much more work. There's a lot more work required. There's more detail behind the reports and a lot more information that's required to be gathered. So Sunbury contracts with a company called Julian & Grube to help compile the annual financial statements. We filed our financial statements with the Auditor of State for the year ending December 31st, 2025. That was just last year. We filed them on June 1st this year. And the financial statements for the year prior to that, ending December 31st, 2024, they were filed in August of 2025. So the city hasn't been audited since the 2022-2023 period of time. So we were audited for 2022, 2023 in 2024, and that was done by a CPA firm or an IPA firm called Perry and Associates. The Auditor of State's office is required to perform financial audits over all these agencies at least once every 2 years. So every year, the auditor's office performs about 4,000 different financial audits, and they're not only auditing cities, but they're auditing school districts, special districts, even NCAs, all the agencies that fall under the state of Ohio. So the Auditor of State's office cannot physically perform all these audits on their own. So they contract with independent public accounting firms or IPAs to contract with the cities on behalf of the Auditor of State. So that's the agreement that the city of Sunbury is in right now. We are under contract with an IPA firm, Perry and Associates, and we're in contract with them to perform our audits from 2022 through December of 2027. So every 2 years, that's the firm that's going to be auditing our financial statements. Since we are now due for an audit, they are auditing 2024 and 2025. And if you recall, I mentioned that we did that method of accounting switch between 2023 and 2024. So since there is a major change in the way our financials are presented, the audit's going to be a lot more complicated and it could take a lot more time. I'm just giving this information so that you know what to expect. And if I come to you for questions or ask you to provide any documentation of a certified training that we'll talk about in a minute, then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Any questions on the audit process or the accounting so far? I know that was a lot of information. Okay. So right now we are under audit for 2024 and 2025, and that is due to be done at the end of June. So I don't know if they're going to finish it by the end of June. They can apply for an extension with the Auditor of State, and so we'll see what happens, but that's the due date as of now. So as part of the audit, in addition to auditing the financials, they are also going to look at the city's compliance with certain laws and regulations. And that includes certain things like public records policy, records retention, related party transactions, sunshine law compliance, fraud, and the certified public records training. And there's additional items too, but these are the major things. So I had sent an email to the council members who were on council between 2024 and 2025 asking for a certified public records training certificate. You may not have known that it was required to be done. So let this serve as your information. And now that you know, every year, elected officials are required to complete a 3-hour training for certified public records. And I listed that requirement down here at the bottom of page 5 in your packet. And this comes directly from the Ohio Sunshine Law Manual. So I have a reference there at the end of that paragraph, so you can reference that source directly. And there's a link there to find the certified public records trainings.
Just to clarify, it says each term, you said each year?
Sorry, yes, each term.
Okay.
I have that highlighted. I said that wrong. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's every term.
Okay, thank you.
And you said that that would have come from you, the notification of the training, or would it come from okay.
I did not notify anyone. I sent out a request for you to send those to me if you had done them. That's what I was referencing, the email, but.
Okay, I'll just say this, I have not completed it yet. I just registered today. I did not get any email like we get for the Ohio Ethics Commission. It's like a reminder saying you must do this by then. So, I mean, I searched for the Auditor of State and it's referenced in some of the emails, but there wasn't like something that came out and said Mark Long or Damon Capel, you must take this.
Okay.
So you kind of have to go out self-serve.
That's a good point. I think that's important to know because you don't know what you don't know. So that's why I thought I'd take this opportunity and just let you all know that is something that the auditors are going to be looking at. So just so we can start doing it going forward and making sure we're in compliance with that. That's all I had on the audit. Are there any other questions? Please, if there are, just feel free to send me an email and I'll be happy to share the audits with you and all the financials.
Any questions? Credit card annual review.
On page 4 of your packet. As part of our credit card policy, we need to annually review or report to council all rewards received based on the use of the city's credit card account. So this is the month in which I report this to you. During the period of June 1st through May 31st of 2025 through 2026, the city received credit card rewards totaling $200, and those were all paid in checks listed there in July, October, January, and April, $50 each. All checks were deposited into the city's bank account and posted to account in the general fund, miscellaneous revenues or miscellaneous reimbursements.
Any questions?
What does that rewards program look like? Because how's it, there's 0 cents, it's rounded to the dollar.
I'm not sure about the details of the program. It's $50 every time we get a reward. So there must be some kind of threshold that every time we reach that, we get a $50.
You get a $50. Okay, that's how it works. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, next item, any other questions on that? All right, year-to-date comparison reports.
All right. All right, starting on page 7 of your packet, we'll go through the revenues year to date. Okay. Starting with the income tax at the top of the page, looking at the percentage, we're about 42% collected, and I'm always tracking to that 41.67 in green at the top, because that's where we are. We're 5/12 of the year, and that represents 41.67%. So I compare the percent collected with that, and that's how I base my analysis for explanations. So we'll look at the income tax, and that's collected at 42% right now. I just want to make a note. Collections are on track to be received in full by the end of this year. We had we estimated about 7% of an increase from 2025. And earlier in the year, I thought maybe that was a bit aggressive, but I think we're going to be right on track. So we're trending right on. So fingers crossed we will meet that. So I'm usually at this time, I'm telling you about how we're exceeding our revenues from our budget, but now it's not the case, but it's because we budgeted so high. A little further down the page in municipal court and mayor's court, you can see we've only collected 21% in the municipal court. In the mayor's court, we've collected 67%. The difference between these two, municipal court is through Delaware. This is what we receive from the city of Delaware, who processes some of our court cases that cannot be done here in our mayor's court. So those are the revenues from that court system. And then, of course, our mayor's court revenues are below that. Towing revenue is quite high, but it's a minimal total amount, so nothing much to get excited about there. I'll talk about building permits next. We're at 113% collected, and that's really great considering we're not even halfway through the year. We're already fully collected there, but we did have some large collections come in. You can see off to the right-hand side, Woodland Lake Sub-Area B has paid, Kittner Crossing Residential has paid, both of those significant amounts. So you can see the money is coming in paying for the growth. Down below that, we have stormwater fee revenue, and that's at 38% collected. So pretty close to being on track right now. Below that, we have engineering fees, and we're higher than expected right now at 56% collected, mainly due to the Kittner Crossing Residential. Our interest income is slightly higher than anticipated at this time, which is always good. Miscellaneous local tax. Oh, that's the portion of the property tax held in reserve. All right, down under state grants, we've collected 63%. So we've collected almost all of the zoning grant that we received. We actually did collect the final $1,000 of that in the month of June. So that is fully collected. We also collected the final reimbursement on the Walnut Street soil stabilization. You may recall this project was completed in 2025, didn't actually get closed out until this year. So that's why we have that revenue coming in this year. And we received a partial reimbursement for the body worn camera grant. And we do expect to receive about $35,000 more on that grant. Okay, let's skip down to miscellaneous reimbursements. We're 134% collected. And primarily this is due to the Pulte Snow Salt Services invoice that we sent for this snow and salt that we've done for them on their streets. Also Berkshire Township reimbursement for the Joint Rec District. And lastly I want to talk about electric charging station. Listening to the Finance Committee meeting from last month, I know there was a question there, so I'll take a minute to just talk about that real quick. We do receive monthly revenues from the electronic charging station, and they range from about $400 to $600 a month, so average about $500 a month. And as you can see, the revenues here are 74% collected, so I think we're going to exceed our budget. We will exceed our budget. We also have roughly $3,200 in annual fees for that machine, and that's to pay for just the software that goes into powering that and the actual device itself. So it nets out to be about a wash. We actually do end up getting more revenue than we pay out for it on an annual basis. So it's a win for the city. Any questions on that? I think it was you, Cindy, that had questions.
I was just thinking about the new parking lot over here and how maybe that would have been a good idea to consider when we were talking about that new parking lot, maybe putting in a charging station.
That's interesting. I'm not sure how much usage the station gets. I know it's been increasing over the years, but
I was just thinking that's a more likely spot people are going to park it. I was just thinking, you just caught me thinking.
gotcha.
One of the reasons we got that, it was on a grant.
Yep.
Like all the wiring and the actual cost of the unit was reimbursed free.
And I believe if you're driving an electric vehicle, it'll direct you to where the pumps are, right?
Yes.
So like this one's not hidden away because they'll find it if they need it,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
And then the expenses on our end, that includes the actual cost of electricity as well.
Do you pay for electricity? Yes, we do.
Sorry, is it included? Like there's still a net profit or?
I didn't consider that cost of electricity, but that is a very good point. I have to.
So I don't.
The electricity
Upside down.
isn't that much. Let me look at those bills. I'll get an answer for you.
Thank you.
I'd be very interested in what the usage was too, like how many people that constitutes.
Yeah, I can get that information too. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're still on revenue. The very last line on the general fund on your page there, intergovernmental revenue, we're at 72% collected, and the majority of that is for the SRO reimbursement that we just recently received. And just an FYI, the SRO MOU is up for renegotiation, so the police chief is aware of that. We're about to end the contract on that at the end of June. Moving on to other funds and revenues. On the next page, we've got impact fees to talk about. I don't necessarily need to go through any of these, but if there are questions, I will certainly entertain any questions there. If not, I'll just keep going down to the sewer fund on the next page. And it's going to be towards the bottom of the next page, and we're looking at 402. Capital projects, OWDA proceeds. There was a question the last Finance Committee meeting from Mr. Grumney. He was wondering about the $30,000 that we had received versus the $12.5 million that was budgeted. The $12.5 million that's budgeted is the expected revenue, the expected revenues from OWDA that will be paid to the contractor for the wastewater treatment plant expansion project this year. So they're expected to do $12.5 million worth of work. So we have to show that money coming in as a revenue and an expense. So it's showing up here as a revenue. It's also on the expense side as well. We've collected $30,000, and that is from reimbursements for Accenture payments. So Accenture is working on the design or the construction inspection. And they have, they're sending us invoices to pay as part of their work that they're doing. And OWDA is reimbursing the city for the work that we're paying for. So that's what that $30,000 represents. It will be growing throughout the year as we spend more money. Okay. that concludes the revenues. I'll move on to expenses unless there's any questions. Moving on to expenses. I'm going to go through everything that's highlighted in yellow. Towing expenses in the police department are first on the list, 73% spent, and it's a minor dollar amount, so that's nothing significant. Cruiser repair, though, is next, and we're at 50% spent. Still high because we haven't received the reimbursement on that insurance claim for the cruiser number 98 yet. But once we receive that reimbursement, we'll put the funds back in, and it'll look much better, much more in line. All right, in the middle of the page, supplies zoning, we're at 72% spent. Nothing major in this, it's a minor dollar amount, so nothing to get excited about there. On the next page, we've got some yellows. First one is contractual services for fiscal. This is the ClearGov annual fee, so it's just slightly higher than what we expect for the year. Just below that, in land and buildings, we have, here's the electronic charging station. Here we go. All right, so we've got 3 line items here. Contractual services is at 47% collected, and mainly due to some high expenses in landscaping that we're paying recently. The electronic charging station is at 57% paid, and this is the ChargePoint annual fee, the $3,200. And AEP, what we've paid for the year. So $2,500 in AEP thus far. So it looks like we might be under when we consider the payment of the actual expense for the energy. So that's a good point. But I will still continue to look at that and just make sure that AEP amount is right. Next, under supplies for land and buildings, we're at 51% spent, primarily due to the repairs of the steps at the old church parking lot. Next section below in the total other governmental department, these are just expenses for property taxes, and these are fees that the Delaware County Auditor withholds from the property tax distribution. So it's fees like election expenses, general auditor fees, Delaware County Health Department fees, things like that. In the supplies for street, we're at 46% paid, mainly because of the road salt that's been so expensive. And then in repairs and maintenance, we're at 71% paid. We had an expensive repair on the Western Star truck that's driving that. Okay, moving along. On the next page, in the street fund, we're at 49% paid on debt service, but that's just due to one of 2 annual payments being made. Next on the list is Capital Highway. This is all for Safe Streets for All. These were just engineering expenses that were billed late after the project was done and not paid until 2026. And then further down in the note interest, that's 50% paid due to semi-annual loan payment. Down in supplies for cemetery, we're at 64% paid, mainly due to the payments for the lumber that we're buying to protect the grass there so that the wheels of the trucks don't damage the ground too much. Going to the next page, we're on the sewer fund. Supplies for the sewer plant is at 47% paid. Looks like it's just normal expenses, but we're just running high right now. Repairs on pipes. Oh, there was a question that Mr. Gose had on CNC Electric. There was a CNC Electric payment made, $5,900. That was a repair of, I wrote it down here. That was a repair and a rewire of a pump at the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, going back, chemicals is at 55% spent, mainly just the cost of chemicals. And then 2 more yellow items, and these are both loan payments. So everything else, as far as, in my financial opinion, everything pretty normal, all coming as expected, nothing major to be concerned about.
Did I read right on the charging station then that it is costing us money?
I believe so. Once we consider in the expenses paid to AEP for the
And
power.
the AEP is in there for 2,500.
Yes, I need to look at that number though and just make sure that's all that is in there.
And that charge annual fee? Is that paying the person that just manages or maintains that?
It is paying for the software that we can go on the website and look at all the usage and the watts that are being used and all the data behind what's being used there. So that's what we're paying for. And I suppose to actually have the machine on site.
Yeah, so on a high level, if you look at it, the revenue estimate is 4,000, the expense estimate is 10. Yeah, we're underwater. We've been underwater for a while. I know when Kathy Belcher was here in this role, she had negotiated a reduction, a significant reduction in the electric charge, but it appears as if maybe that's not gotten us where we needed to be. It was extremely high at one point. I do remember consumers would come in and they would say, I'm not going to use that charging station because I wouldn't say they said it's more expensive than gas, but it was high for electric services. So, so like I said, I know she negotiated a better rate. I think it's the one that we're locked in today. We should check on that. But even that doesn't seem to have gotten us where we need to be.
Rate being the 3,200 a year?
No, not the electric charge to the city.
AAP.
Yeah,
Okay.
the electric charge to us. Mhm.
The 3,200 seems high, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's the end of my reports for the revenues, the year-to-date comparison reports. But would you like me to just move on to the May check register and year-to-date fund report?
Yes, please.
Okay. The May check register starts on page. It starts on page 15. Sorry about that. And on page 15, these are all the checks that the city paid in the month of May. And I've highlighted a few of them here that are large that you may be wondering what they are. So 2K General, it's about a third of the way down page 15. 2K General Co, we paid $85,000. 2K General, they are the ones that are working on the J.R. Smith Park. Okay,
Mhm.
yes.
Yep.
So that's a J.R. Smith Park payment. Yeah. Very
That's good. I see the Civic Association down there almost at the bottom at
The
17,000.
Golden Civic Association, that is for, I believe, festivals and
Yeah,
events.
it's mostly the fireworks. And it looks like it's a few other additional charges in there, but mostly fireworks.
Going up a little bit, we see performance pipelining for 190,000. That is work that was done the Cheshire Road ditch. Thank you. Just below that, Sutherland Building Company. Sutherland, we paid them 27,000. That was the final payment on the lower level renovations at the admin building. Duke's Root Control at the bottom of the list for 10,000. This is Dale's department. Thank you. Chemical cleaning for root control. And anyone that I'm not mentioning and you have a question on it, please feel free to ask. I didn't have any others on the list to discuss, but I'll be happy to answer any questions. The year-to-date fund report is also there on page 18, so you can see where our funds are looking. Everything looks normal. The bank to book reconciliation is on the front page, and I'll talk a little bit about the income taxes. You can see my chart there. We're at 7.6% higher than where we were last year, and we're right around track of that 7% bump in expected revenue. So we're right on track, guys. We are right on track. Hopefully we can beat that this year, but we'll see. All the major categories are trending as they have typically trended. The withholding group is the biggest one there at 1.6 million. Individual collections are just under 900,000, and the net profit is slightly lower than it's been in the past. So we'll keep an eye on that. Down to the bank to book reconciliation, we've got a total of $25,277,000 in our combined bank accounts. Outstanding checks total 67,000. And we've got a variance item of 143,000. I can tell you the majority of that variance is due to NCA funds that were sitting in our bank at the end of May, but have now been transferred out to a separate bank account for the NCA. So that took a little bit of work to get that done, working with the NCA secretary, but we did finally get that set up. So that variance will go down quite a bit next month. One last thing I wanted to mention is, it's not on the agenda, but I do have a printout of what we got from Rita for the allocation of costs for income tax collection. And this is on page 19 of your packet, page 19 through 21. Rita retains a portion of our collections for administrative costs. And every year they review those administrative costs and determine if we, Sunbury, have exceeded those costs in our services that we required or didn't meet them. And depending on where we fall there, they either give us a refund of that money or they ask us to pay more. And this year, like in years past, we've gotten a refund, and it was about $88,000 this year. So that's going right back into our income tax collections. So I just wanted to show this to you so you can see the benefit that Rita has for our citizens and our residents here in Sunbury. Nobody likes to pay taxes, of course. Nobody wants to deal with Rita. But I feel that Rita is a good partner. They've really done a lot to improve their products and their training to us members. I just attended an annual meeting today with their regional council of governments, and they are doing a lot to benefit the residents of Ohio by collecting income tax and really building on these economies of scale that they've developed over the years. And I can see that they put a lot of money into their programs and developing their products and helping the citizens. So I think they're a great partner. You can see some more information there, and also some information that Rita provides for resources for taxpayers on page 21. If you ever have your constituents asking about taxes, you can maybe give them some helpful information and maybe put a smile on their face. Maybe not, I don't know. So that's all I have. That's all I have. I'm happy to answer questions.
Questions? The highlight is we're up 7%. We budgeted 7% up.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, any questions? All right, any unfinished business? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. Long.